And here we are with the amazing comic book movie haul for November of 2016, guys. Alright, kind of a light month, but some quality stuff here. And I think there's one or two things I may have already shown, I'm not sure. And I'm missing one book that I got, so I'll just show that in a future video. And considering I live by myself and I travel a lot and things like that, I have no idea where it could have went. Okay, so first thing I want to show you are some trades that I got at a huge discount that I could not believe. Found these in Bristol, Virginia. I can't remember, I think it was a G2K Games, maybe even a GameStop, but I think it was a G2K Games. But went in, didn't have a lot of time. They were about 10 minutes from closing. I looked at their stuff, and I saw these short boxes and looked in them, and they were all discounted. So the first thing I got were some very cheap trades here, man. First thing I have here, this is trade number 8 of Strangers in Paradise by Terry Moore, My Other Life. I've left the labels, I left the price tags on there so you can see them. $3.74 for this, okay, in Another Life. Now, I've been collecting a lot of Strangers in Paradise for like the last 2 years, so there's a good chance that I have most of these issues, but for these trades, that's the way to go with them. And I'm really steering towards getting some of these other series in trade anyway, so that's okay. But we got that one, Another Life. Now, Terry Moore does Rachel Rising. He's done Echo. I love seeing him do interviews. Here's trade number 14 for, check that out, $2.24. This is just fantastic stuff, man. It's Kachu is quite the character in here. Francine is quite the character. But this thing is a staple of the 90s. And then here's trade number 19, the last one, for $3.99. Cannot believe this. So this was fantastic to find. This was the end of the series. Okay, then the other thing I needed, I couldn't believe I found this, because when I find this trade, I don't know what the deal is, but the trade originally retailed for $13, and when I found it around here, they want like $20, $25 for it. And I'm like, are you kidding, because of how thin it is? But this is number 4 of The Invisibles by Grant Morrison. This is a series that's in my collection. It's on the second shelf here right behind me, that when I started organizing my books not too long ago, I could not believe that I think there was 3 volumes of The Invisibles. I think one was like 25 issues, 22, and then 12 issues in that ballpark. I could not believe how many that I've had without even trying picking this up. You know, another great staple of the 90s here. But this is the Vertigo series that Grant Morrison, he is King Mob. Grant Morrison made King Mob look like him. And this conspiracy and aliens and gods of rock and roll, and Grant Morrison claims to have been on a lot of drugs as he wrote this purposely, you know, as a way to just kind of get a stream of consciousness to write this thing. Just a fantastic series, man. And this is the one where Phil Jimenez was doing the second volume. I don't know if he did any of the first volume, but I kind of wished he did the whole thing. Grant Morrison and Phil Jimenez on The Invisibles. Fantastic team. Good stuff, right? Then I found this for $5, and I found this like in a thrift shop somewhere. They had 3 of them. I remember that. I can't remember where I bought this. I think I got this in Blacksburg, Virginia, at a thrift shop, right? And I was with, I think I was hanging out with Scott Connor that day and stuff, right? But from 1985, Judge Dredd 7. This is actually a book from Titan where they came out with different trades from their 2010 books. This is actually book, anyway, there's a big list here of all the books that came out. It's got an odd numbering and stuff, right? They all were not Judge Dredd. But I think this is the 7th book of Judge Dredd, which makes this the 18th book in this series like that. Just fantastic stuff, man. Great, great stuff, and I love that cover. 1985. I've actually made this the wallpaper on my cell phone. So, yeah, I really love that cover. Fantastic stuff, man. Alright, then I think I got this just for a flat $5 about 2-3 weeks ago, which is a fantastic deal, I think, for this book, because as far as I know, they're out of print. DC Comics does not do their Paradox Press line anymore that I'm aware of. But they came out with a whole bunch of these books. The Big Book of Urban Legends, which is this one, which is the one I wanted. I got 2 more. I think they're down, yeah, over there somewhere. You know, the Big Book of Criminals, you know, things like that. But this is the Urban Legends, Big Book of Conspiracies. They had quite a few. But basically these are just really 1 to 2 page, mostly stories of just urban legends, and each one's done by a different writer, creator, or writer, artist, however you want to do it. And right off the bat, we all know the urban legend of the hook. The man with the hook. The man and the woman dating. And they think they hear some rattling or something, and they take off where they were parking, and when they get out of the car, there's a bloody hook hanging off the door handle. The radio usually says there's an escaped inmate or something like that. So it's a bunch of urban legends. Been waiting on that for a while. Okay, awesome. Alright, and today I got these. I got a pretty good deal, I guess. Got these in Roanoke, Virginia on my way back from a place where I was working and stuff. I stopped to get lunch, looked across the road, there's a shop. I went over there for $5. That's the number 5 right there. For $5, I got the Hellboy trade, 5th volume, Conqueror Worm. And I have quite a few issues of Hellboy, and I think I'm going to go ahead and sell them because I've been saying it for years. I've been slowly, this is like maybe my 5th or 6th volume of Hellboy in trade. Basically because Mike Mignola puts in like sketchbooks and stuff in the back of these, but from the interviews I've read from him, read on him, and heard him talking here and there, what he does is when the trades are put out, he kind of goes back into the story and he'll add pages. It may not be anything significant to the story, but it helps with the way he wanted it to flow, because Mike Mignola is known to just trash a whole comic and start all over, drawing wise before it gets published. So I was really glad to find that for $5. And then he had a box of a whole bunch of graphic novels, which was just outstanding. But I found this one. In my journeys, I've only ran across this one time, and they wanted like $30, $35 for it. I was not paying that. Found it for $5. 1989, Squadron Supreme, Death of a Universe. Like I said, that's not going to impress a lot of people, but this was one of those Grail books I've always wanted to read. And of course, this is Marvel's version of the Justice League. Mark Gruenwald in 1985-86 did his fantastic 12-issue miniseries of the Squadron Supreme. This was the sequel, Death of a Universe, and it's basically a different take on Crisis on Infinite Earths for this universe. It's fantastic. Don't want to ruin it, man. But I've read this online before, but it's going to be nice to have my hands on it, which I'm just like, woohoo, it's fantastic. Okay, and then it's got some comics and stuff like that. Slowly getting my new Titans run together. I didn't really have. I've got the Baxter series that started in 1984. I've got a ton of those. I'm really close to having all the issues that I want. And actually, issue 71, I was doing some bagging the other night, and I lifted one bag, and it peeled just a little bit of the paint on a cover. I go to look to replace it, and it's a $5 book. I'm like, what? I'm not paying that. But anyway, this is when George Perez had returned to co-plot and draw the new Titans. They changed their name. They dropped the teen part. And it was Who is Wonder Girl, trying to definitely answer who Wonder Girl is, part 2. Well, part 3 of 5. Number 52, which is part 3 of 5. And I really hope this is the issue I needed of this line. So, yeah. And then, I'm real close to completing all the crossover Inferno issues. I went through the X books in 89, maybe? Yeah, 1989. And for some reason, these X-Men books are kind of pricey when you find them. But these are some beat-up copies. I'll upgrade one day. But, I think I just need 1 or 2 more now. I'll have the entire Inferno in all its crossovers. I'm going to do a video on it. Whoops. Get with it, Tim. Issue 240. Some Mark Silvestri art. Some Mr. Sinister. 241, which is in really bad shape. I shouldn't have paid $1 for it. But what can you do? Madeline Pryor is the Goblin Queen. And number 243. So I think I just need 242 and maybe one or 2 more issues. I'll have all of Inferno. Just a fantastic series. And I'm really close now to having all these. Once I catalog these books, I'll know if I have the whole series or not. I'm pretty sure I just need 1 or 2 issues. Going by memory here, but this is J. Michael Straczynski's Rising Stars. It does have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and this thing really took off when it started out. Even, I've said it before, Wizard Magazine was trying to claim or they had the idea that this may be the book that finally replaced Watchmen, but here's number 18. It's almost become a TV series a few times, or option for it. Number 19, and the premise is really cool. Number 21. The premise is really cool. This comet or something goes over a town, or meteor goes over this town, and I think it explodes. And in this town, anybody that was pregnant, their baby that was in utero, was born with powers. Years later, after the government has come into the town and kind of were the ones to raise these kids, it turns into a murder mystery, because all of those kids, seems like there might have been like 125 of them that had powers. As one died, their power gets spread out to everyone else that has powers, and thus they got a little bit stronger. And then as more and more are killed, and the numbers kind of switch there, they get more and more powerful. And it's a mystery of who did it, and are they supposed to be changing the world, and it gets into that kind of stuff. Now this I had to get. I want to make sure that I have all the issues now. I've had this little run. This is my favorite Animal Man story, and it's the one where I felt like they finally stopped trying to be like Grant Morrison. Okay, and it started in issue, I think I just went backwards. 2, 3, 4, 5. So it started in issue 51. Okay, and Jamie Delano came on, but this is Flesh and Blood. This was just a fantastic story. I've got part 1 here. I've had it before, but I sold a whole run or close to a whole run of Animal Man to one of my friends, knowing I'd pick this up later again. And I'm glad I did, because I think it's actually an upgrade from the issues I had. The issues I had weren't in bad shape, but But yeah, here's 51. Just a fantastic series. Oh, it was just so good. Love that cover. Cat laying on the woman with the Triceratops, all with their evil red eyes. Yep. Animal Man's son with this creepy pedophile-like guy, if you will. Oh, I don't want to ruin the story, but it's really good. Flesh and Blood. I kind of recommend it. Don't pay a lot for it. And this is the stuff I don't know if I've shown her before or not, but I got a couple Michael Moorcock books. I'm an Elric fan, but I've got Fortress of the Pearl by Michael Moorcock. I didn't realize he's put out more Elric books than I thought. This came out in 1989, I think. I just looked at the page. I kind of remember this one. Never ran across it, but this is the one that blew my mind. Because I didn't know Elric had a son. But this came out in 2005, which is the year I was getting divorced, so it's no wonder I missed it. But The White Wolf's Son. Never heard of that book. And then I found part 2 of, trying to think of it, Dorian Hawkmoon, I think that's his name. It's right there, Dorian Hawkmoon. But here's the second volume, The Mad God's Amulet. Another Eternal Champion. Fantastic stuff. And then last month, like I said, I may have shown this, or earlier this month, I took a whole bunch of hardbacks and softcover books that I'm either done with, never going to read, or never going to read again. Got some store credit. Ended up finding this for $8, practically brand new. The Making of the Sin City movie, which blew my mind. And yeah, the letters are supposed to be like that and stuff. But when I opened it, it did this thing where it cracked. And it just kind of like, it's an odd shape, but here's like wardrobe. It's in chapters like that. Talks about the movie. It's fantastic stuff. And this is for the first Sin City movie, so I was really glad to find that. Speaking of Sin City, I'm going to go ahead and show my movies that I got on Black Friday. I didn't get a huge Black Friday haul. I went ahead and bought me a $200 phone for $40. I was due for a new phone. But ended up getting a few things here. Got this, A Dame to Kill For, Sin City, the long-awaited sequel that first time I watched it I was like really disappointed and actually fell asleep in the theater for a minute. Ended up watching it online somewhere and I was like, okay, I was a little bit more forgiving, and then it kind of grew on me a little bit. I'm not saying I like it, but I don't hate it. Got my Deadpool movie. Fantastic. Way to go, Fox. Knocked it out of the ballpark. What can I say? Mad Max Fury Road. Loved this movie. They just don't make them like this anymore. Fantastic. I'm the guy that thinks if you do not have Road Warrior in your DVD collection, you don't have a DVD collection. I got this with a slip cover on it. Now this was $5. I got this earlier in the month. Akira. Got this about 2 weeks ago. Long overdue for me to have Akira. So look up Akira. I love this. This was Bruce Timm's return. Bruce Timm, his return to doing animated movies for DC. Justice League Gods and Monsters. Absolutely love this. This new take on the DC Trinity will blow you. Well, it blew me away. I was like, this is fantastic. Very dark. The comic book tie-ins were shit, but this was good. And I got Pacific Rim Kaiju. Yep. With the talk of, and I hope it goes through, because I've heard the rumors for a couple years, maybe 2-3 years. So I'm hoping that it really happens. But they're going to be taking Skull Island with King Kong and Godzilla and Pacific Rim and make them their own movie universe. And I got to say, I'm not down in the Marvel movies or anything like that, but I'm kind of getting bored, and I'm kind of like feeling this more. You know, I've always loved my giant monsters and stuff. Got the little toys around here and stuff. It's from DVDs and stuff. But right now, that's about it. I can show you the short box I got. But that's about it right now. So hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving. Let's hope for that we have a great December. And, see y'all later when I shoot another video. Later.